Hello guys, I'm back from another video and today we're talking about what if deku was experimented on. So, in the last video we talked about how after the whole transplant between the inmate and Izuku's brand new poison sac, the inmate died as after that little operation, he was brought to a little hospital room where he's brought to rest. Endeavor has basically been taking care of him for a while now as when he gets a visit from Izuku's real mother, Inko Midoriya. So, after a while of talking and also a while of talking about how Izuku's been doing ever since she basically left him in the orphanage, they actually get pretty much along. Wait for a second. They also started talking about how Izuku technically has three girlfriends. Let's just say, she was kind of a bit angry, but also kind of a bit proud at Izuku for having three girlfriends. Not only that, apparently after, a while, he was brought to a little office to a, doctor, and would tell him about this weird chip in his head. But thankfully, they got it out of his head, and apparently, this is probably a chip from the Aprishiki project or something. So they brought it to a little facility that specializes in technology, or more specifically bioengineering, to check if it's a something, at least anything. And he got a call from Damien, as he would apparently say that there's gonna be an attack at the UA fitting camp, and apparently this person who told him about it is a mysterious messenger. Apparently, the way he talked to him is by text, and he didn't call him back. When he did try, apparently it just said, well, wrong number or something like that. And apparently the profile picture of this guy resembles a smiling dog, which weirded him out. So, yeah, after a while of talking to Inko Midoriya, she would leave as he would take care of Midoriya once again, as they would basically go to sleep. So, that's basically what happened last episode. And so, let's talk about what happens next. So, Endeavor basically wakes up as he gets breakfast and starts watching Izuku again. When the doctors came in, they start talking about how he's going to be waking up. He needs to drink this special medicine to relieve his nerves after the whole operation. While they were talking, they would kind of feel like somebody's watching them. As when they do look over, Izuku seems to be waking up. His fingers would move as he would start moving up to sit down. As Izuku would say this, "What happened? Where am I?" As everybody would just be surprised that Izuku is finally woken up. As for Endeavor, he would gasp as he would say this, "Izuku." As Izuku would just say this, "Dad, where am I?" As he would hug Izuku, saying, "Thank God you're alive, and the transplant was okay. I just hope you're okay. That's all that matters." As Izuku would say this, "Oh, just stop with the hug. Besides, I'm okay. Got it?" As he would start getting out of his seat as he says this, "God, it feels so good to finally be back. So, what's been happening ever since after the surgery?" As he would say this, "I'll tell you later." As the doctor would say this, "Good, you're finally awake. So, I think it's better for you to rest for now, because you're going to be drinking this special medicine after you woken up, which is now." As he would be brought this liquid medicine, as when he does drink it, he would say this, "Ugh, it tastes like shit." As one of them would say this, "Well, it's obviously supposed to be good for you, so It obviously doesn't mean that it has to taste good, as you would say this. But still, God, it tastes so bad. And by the way, what is it? As you would say this. Oh, it's a painkiller. It will help you from, after the surgery. As you would say this. Yeah, I guess it still feel. Ow. At least it's taking effect right now. As he would say this. Good. Now, I prescribe you a few days of sleep and then you can finally get out of the hospital. As Izuku would say this. Oh, I see. So, how about my. As he would say this. Yes, your poison sac has finally arrived, and is now inside your body. The surgery is pretty much okay, except for the time where where she tried to escape, but don't worry, she's obviously, gone back to her cell. Actually, I think I remember that she would die because of thanks to the poison sac basically not in her body. As Izuku would say this. Um, okay. Is there anything else should I just know? Like anything? As he would say this. Oh yeah. Wait for a second. Oh yeah. Apparently your poison sac doesn't allow you to create infinite poisonous webs. So it's gonna be a limited amount of web that you're able to make. As Izuku would just say this. Well, scheisse. As he would say this. But don't worry, if you want to make more webs, just eat a lot. But not too much before you might, as he would say this. Oh, I see. Hmm, very well then. As he would say this. Now, just keep resting for now. And as for you, Endeavor, I want you to stay and take care of Izuku, okay? As Endeavor would say this. Okay. So, after the doctors leave, Endeavor would say this. So, are you okay? Did something happen to you? Or, as Izuku would say this, don't worry, I'm fine. And besides, the painkillers are kicking in, and I feel much more relaxed. As he would say this, so, you're finally okay. As he would say this, yeah, Dad. Don't worry, I'm not gonna spill out blood or anything. Foreshadowing. Anyway, so, as Endeavor would say this, so, um, I also wanted to talk to you about something. As he would say this, talk about what? As he would say this, well, he would sigh as he would say this. He would tell Izuku that his real mother has arrived, and also told him that, you know, that she wanted to see him again. She feels regret for basically leaving him in the orphanage. When Izuku heard that, he would say this. You mean my real mother? That. That. As he would say this. What's wrong? As Izuku would say that. He would just say this. I never want to see that bitch ever again. She's not my mother. After all, she did left me in that hell, that literal hellscape. As he would say this, Izuku, as Izuku would just say this. Oh yeah, sorry. I just don't want to see her. Got it? I don't want to see that woman that you call my mother. Or at least, my biological mother. I just want to see my, you know, my, mm, my at least my nicer mother. The one that's literally married to you, even though you, as he would say this, yeah. He would sigh as he would say this. Anyway, just sit down and just rest. As he would say this. Okay. He goes down on his bed as he would fall asleep. So, a few weeks have gone by since the whole, surgery thing, as he was told that he was allowed to go back to, no, back home. As when he does, he would decide to go straight back home and maybe tomorrow go to the training camp. But unfortunately, this is going to be well, a pretty busy day because let's just say something's going to happen in the training camp that's not going to be suspected or unexpected at all. So, after a while of basically like getting there to his home, they basically made it there as he would see Fuyumi again. Fuyumi would be glad to see Izuku again, as she would hug him, as Izuku would say this, "Hey sisters, just stop." As she would say this, "I'm just so glad that you're okay. Anyway, are you perhaps okay, father?" As Endeavor would just say this, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just super worried. Anyway, as for you, Izuku, you can do whatever you want, just as long as it's safe." As Izuku would just say this, "Alright, father." As he would say this, "I should probably go back to my old room." As he would start going upstairs, as he would see that, oh yeah, my room has been cleared out. My room is, or at least my stuff is currently in the dorms. God frickin' damn it. As Fuyumi would say this, "Oh, don't worry, you can probably just like sleep in, Natsuo's room. After all, he's currently in college, so he won't be back for like, maybe like a few days, or a few, months." As Izuku would say this, I guess so." So, after he decides to go sleep in his bed, the next day comes as he would get an alert from, well, a certain person again. Being, well, wait for a second. Being Damien, as Damien would call both Izuku and Endeavor, as they were told that it's finally time for them to go to the training camp immediately, because later there's going to be an attack by the League of Villains after getting a text from that mysterious, well, person. So, after being told of this, they started going towards the not the USJM, at the training camp. So, it's basically late at night as they were told to stay in the bushes to not alert any of these students. So, they would see in the distance that the students are currently gonna go to the test their courage, as all three of the girls, specifically Suyu Asui, Shoka Todoroki, and finally Melissa Shield, would decide to be in the team as they started going into the forest. After Izuku saw that, he would also see something identical to his, well, insects, being basically like, have you seen like Far Cry Primal, which, one of my favorite games, by the way, just because, instead of like a, first person shooter, I can't believe nobody thought of this, it's a first person survival game. But still, just imagine the whole like owl thing where he's able to summon an owl and use it as like a drone kind of. Just imagine doing it like that. So he summons out a few insects to be like drones. After like tracking these people down, he would see the League of Villains are preparing to take down or at least kill the rest of the um students of 1A and 2B, or in this case 1A and 1B. So, they started going into the forest as several of the villains would start causing fires and start going to, well, their separate ways. Izuku would see this and tell, Endeavor and also Damien. Damien would start going down off the mountain by basically falling down off it. As he activate his quirk. I never really told you his quirk exactly, but let me tell you now. So, his quirk is basically like, kind of like earth manipulation, but he's also able to control magma. So, he would start falling off the cliff as he would start creating, well, a stone pillar to basically break his fall. This is also kind of a spoiler to like a new series that I'm probably gonna make. Just imagine him making a pillar similar to I think his name was like Zhongli. Yeah, Zhongli from yeah from Genshin Impact. He would make a pillar that breaks his fall as he would start going down to the forest as he would start going into it. Izuku would decide to use his webs, but he remembers that's going to be a limited number of webs, so he would decide to not use too much, as he would use it as a zip line, and as for Endeavor, he would start, well, flying by thanks to the fire. Even though it might burn the forest down, but he carefully does it. So, let's go back to Izuku as the main perspective at this time. So, Izuku would start activating his, well, Centispear to get ready to fight some villains, as he would see a few villains fighting against, well, what's his name? Yeah, Shoji. So, Shoji is basically working with the help of, well, what's his face? Yeah, Monoma. As they're basically fighting Moonfish. Moonfish would use his, well, disgusting teeth blades as Izuku would come out of the shadows, as he would say this: "Hey, it's been a long time, eh?" As Shoji would say this: "Izuku, you're fine. You finally came back, and wait, what happened to you?" As he would say this: "Oh, family business, let's just say that. Anyway, so, you must be the villain that's basically trying to kill my friends, right? Or my classmates in this case." As he would say this: "Kill, kill, kill," as he would start using his blade like teeth to start charging at him. As he would say this: "Sorry, but unfortunately, you're not going to be touching me, especially with that, well, disgusting piece of teeth." As he would start jumping around, as he would start using the rest of his webs, but he would instantly run out because he forgotten that he didn't eat the earlier before. As he would say this: "Shit, shit," as he would basically like use his grasshopper legs to basically like jump around this time. As he would say this: "Damn it, I don't have any webs anymore, so guess I'll just have to use this for now." As he would start using, well, the centipedes, as he would use them as makeshift webs, using them as like whips. So, he would start using them as whips as he would start charging in at him, as he would start slicing his, well, teeth, even though that sounds disgusting out of context. As when his teeth are being sliced, he would start saying, you," as he would start shooting out more teeth at him, as he would say this: "Nope, nope, 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 nope," as he would start slicing the teeth right in half, as he would start charging over at him, as he would get ready to punch his stomach, as he would do, knocking him out. As Monoma would say this: who are you exactly?" As Izuku would say this: "Oh, you must be Class 1B's, well, student, right?" As he would say this: "Yeah, the name's Meito Monoma. And what is a Class 1A student here? And why didn't you come here earlier, or in fact didn't even join this, you know, wait for a second, this training camp thing earlier?" As he would say this: "Oh, I had some family matters. Anyway, so what was going on?" As he would say this, being Shoji: "I don't know, but there's definitely some villain attacks right now." As he would say this: this is gonna be fun. Anyway, just allow me to bring out some friends from the forest." As he would start commanding an entire army of cicadas, as he would say this: "Now, let's see how much they're afraid of bugs and insects just like me." As for Endeavor, Endeavor is basically fighting, well, a certain person. Actually, Dobby doesn't exist. Not technically, I mean, I guess so. I can't really remember, so let's just say Dobby's in this. So, Dobby start fighting, well, Endeavor, as the Endeavor would start using his fire. As for him, he would start using his fire as well. Both of them are basically clashing, as in the anime, if you don't know, this is actually kind of a spoiler, he would start using blue fire as well, being Endeavor. They would start clashing as the rest of the students basically started escaping, as let's go to the group of, of Izuku's love interests. So, Shoka is basically fighting against, Toga, and as for the rest, well, both Suyu and also, wait for a second. Melissa would be fighting the other group of villains, or in this case, one person that's able to clone himself, being Twice. Twice would say this. Sorry ladies, but unfortunately you're gonna be beaten to a pulp. As Izuku would say this. So, you're trying to fight my little girls, right? As they would hear that voice, as they would say this. Wait, Izuku? You're back! As Izuku would say this. But unfortunately, you're going to be beaten to a pulp yourself. Now, allow me to show you how much I have learned. As several insects would come out of the ground, as they would start grabbing onto, the real Twice. As for the clones, they would just turn into dust. As he would say this, bugs, I hate it. As he would say this, what? Are you afraid of bugs or something? Then this is probably gonna be painful for you. As Toga see this, as she would say this, you look absolutely cute. As he would say this, who said that? As he would look over and see Toga right in his face. As he would say this, what the? As she would say this, so you're able to control bugs. That's interesting. Can I have your blood? As he would say this, sorry, but unfortunately you're a villain, and as he would kick her right in the face, as she would say this, a bit rough, shall we? As Izuku would say this, anyway, as he would start coming towards, going towards, Dobby. Not Dobby, I meant, Twice. As Twice is basically like cowering in fear because apparently he's pretty scared of, bugs. As you'd say this, no, get away from me, I hate bugs. As you would say this, what? Afraid of a little insects? As he would start, bringing out his, insectile limbs, as he would start putting on his, uncarapace-like mask. As he would say this, why? Are you perhaps afraid? Afraid of pestilence? Afraid of the insects crawling over your skin and then going under it, tearing you apart and turning you into nothing more than a nest? As several insects would start crawling around, Twice, as he would start, let's just say screaming in fear, as every single villain would hear that, as they would think, the hell? As Izuku would say this, well, I guess that's enough. As he would look over and see, Shoka. Shoka would say this, Izuku, you're okay. As she would jump over, as she would hug Izuku mid-air. As Izuku would say this, hey, stop. As she would say this, don't scare me like that ever again. Why didn't you tell us that you were... As he would say this, sorry, but I thought you were going to be mad or anything like that. As she would say this, yes, I am mad, but you could just tell me anything, okay? Even though you're not really my, brother, it doesn't mean that you have to keep secrets from me. Especially if you're sick or hurting. I just thought, as Izuku would say this, don't worry, I'm okay now, that's all that matters, okay? As she would say this, I guess you're right. They would decide to hug, as one of them specifically, wait for a second. One of them specifically, Melissa, would say this, hey, just stop with the sentiments, and besides, remember, me and Izuku are probably just gonna get married. Unlike you, because remember, you are his, well, adopted sister. And that technically makes it, well, as she would say this. But we're not even blood related, so, as she would say this. So what? Besides, me and him are obviously gonna get married, as, well, Suyu would just come out of nowhere, as she would say this. But, but, me and Izuku are, well, as both of them would just like look over, as she would start blushing, as she would say this. Carol. As they would start looking back at Izuku, as Izuku would just say this. Yeah, we did, well, you know that, but let's just focus on the villains, okay? As one of them would say this, being, well, wait for a second. Shoka would say this. Okay, we're gonna be talking about this later. Anyway, we should just probably just focus on the villains. So, after a while, it's basically just like in canon. Bakugo gets captured, and many things just like that. But it's gonna be different in this half. So, after basically defeating the rest of the villains and some of these villains escaped, they would decide to rest as they see that Endeavor's there, as he would explain that Izuku is kind of a bit weaker ever since he got that surgery. Do tell him that he, let's just say, wait for a second, can't make infinite poisonous webs anymore, and has to eat a lot so he can make, a lot of webs. As when everybody hears that, they would say this. So Izuku can't make infinite webs anymore. As Izuku would say this. Yeah, so unfortunately I had to, eat a lot so he can create more. So, what are we going to be doing with this? As he would say this, being Endeavor. So, after that little incident, we meet to talk to the heroes, or more specifically, the principal of, UA High, to try and, you know, try and deal with the villains. So don't worry. Just keep on with your training and you can do whatever you want, okay? Because tomorrow is gonna be you going back to the dorms. As everybody would say this. Oh yeah, Izuku, did you get in some training? As Izuku would say this. Well, I still need to rest for now. Ugh. Anyway, let's just, I don't know, maybe like do some training, I guess. I'll just do some stretching for now. So, yeah. After that, they basically gone to sleep, but in Izuku's case, Izuku was forced to sleep specifically in the girls' tent. Specifically, the girls in, well, Class 1A, the ones that are also his love interests. Specifically, Melissa Shield. Actually, Melissa Shield is more like she's a part of, like, Class 1B than anything else. Yeah, I guess so. So, he would have to sleep with, Melissa Shield, Shoka, and finally, well, Suyu Asawi. So yeah, unfortunately he's gonna be sleeping with all of them. Not in that way, not that type of sleeping. As all of them would basically fall asleep. So yeah, that's basically what happened last. That's basically what happened in this episode. And so, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye!